I think I clicked on it. Okay, I clicked on it and things are happening.
I think we're live.
Maybe. It says it's going live on... Nope, now it says you're live. We're live. My last tweet was a tweet to the YouTube channel for our podcast, which is a terrible, terrible address because it has not been customized yet. But if you wanna share that, you can do that.
Yeah, it looks like we are live, according to my YouTube. So that's great.
Hooray! Awesome.
Do you want to start us off with the previously on portion of the show while I find that tweet and retweet it?
I will do that.
Perfect.
Previously on That's the Show. Last season, a campus-wide gas leak caused some peculiar behavior at Greendale Community College. 5 years after she came back from a 7-year hiatus to be in a movie, Veronica Mars returned to Neptune for a new season of mystery solving. But not to be topped, Jean-Luc Picard returns to active duty 20 years after facing his last nemesis with the help of some useful data. If all those comebacks can happen... I did it!
Yay!
I did the thing.
The like very dramatic pause before the theme music started was probably my favorite part.
Oh, that wasn't even intentional. I just wouldn't tap the thing and it wouldn't... whatever.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's on brand for our
it.
podcast, is what it is.
It is.
So what are we doing?
How are you? What is new in your life, Paul?
Well, wait, we haven't told anybody what we're doing yet.
Oh, I thought we would get to that. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
What are we doing, Rachel?
We're doing a podcast.
We are doing a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, right?
Yes. So,
yeah, okay.
Viewers and or listeners who have not tuned in before, we watch a lot of TV, Rachel and I do.
This is true.
Yeah.
And, a lot of TV.
There are shows that we love and think you should love, and there are shows that we do not love and think you should not love. And we want to share this with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
My name's Rachel. I go by the Junie Bird online, and I am 27 years old. I'm the whitest person you know, and that's pretty much me.
Cool. I am the guy who's in the small thumbnail on my screen. That's probably what everybody else is seeing too. I'm Paul, Korean American. I do not look like anybody in Awkwafina's new movie, The Farewell, but I do kind of look like people in Fresh Off the Boat. I'm 44, allisexual. I use he/him pronouns. My sun sign is Ravenclaw, but my moon sign is Hufflepuff, and my rising is Gryffindor. Please do not at me.
I want to, but I'm not allowed to, so I guess we're just gonna keep on moving. So wait, I'm like the big one, and then you're in the small and on the bottom, and we can't switch? Is that what I'm hearing?
I have not figured out how to make it switch in Skype, annoyingly.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Theoretically we could use Hangouts, but I am afraid that if we use Hangouts, it'll conflict with OBS broadcasting to YouTube. It's a very complicated situation that I had to set up.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's not what I meant to do at all.
Again, on brand for the podcast.
Did that happen? I think I accidentally hit screen share and I didn't mean to do that, and now you've disappeared.
Oh, well, I don't see your screen. I just still see you.
That's good, but I don't see you.
That's... I mean, it is a podcast. It's really just about what you hear, mostly.
That's true. Anyway,
Where have we been?
Where have I been?
Where have you been?
I've been all over the place. I went to VidCon. When was the last time we recorded this?
Like a year and a half ago?
A year and a half ago. So I was on TV in between then.
We did mention, we were talking about America's Got Talent before we finished.
I think we were.
But I don't know if any of those...
It happened, like, really properly happened, as opposed to just, like, it happened at some point in the future.
I see.
Yeah.
I've continued to doing my day job of property management, my after-work activities of trying to go to the beach, but I no longer have my dog. She passed away at the beginning of 2019.
Aww.
Yes. And 2019 has been a struggle for me. It's been a struggle year, as have most years, really, since 2016, but like especially this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, the world is not always kind.
No. But I've been trying to hang out with friends more, and like, I hung out with my friend Andrea the other day, and I said, we should hang out more, and she said, when? You're Mr. Popular, always busy with people. And I'm like, am I? I'm not trying to be popular and hang out with lots of people for the sake of that. It's mostly just to take my mind off the dumpster fire that is reality.
Yep. Yeah, I feel that.
What's new in your life, Rachel?
What's new in my life is nothing. What's new in my life is that I can't seem to find our outline of this show. I thought I had it open, but it was an old one.
Oh no! It's called Return Episode 7/20/2019. Because also on brand for the podcast, we're getting to this episode like 2 weeks late.
Wait, but I don't see that at all.
You created it.
I know.
It should be in your Google Docs. It should be like the most recent document that you've opened.
Oh well, I use other things too.
Is your Google Docs full of fanfic? Is that what's getting in the way right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's a very good guess. So.
Oh, if we're going to guessing, is your Google document open in one of your 27 tabs right now?
No, I found it.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. What's new in my life is that I started going to therapy and taking antidepressants, and I do think that it's helping. So, yeah, that's it.
That's my applause. Hooray!
Yay!
I should be doing the same, but for the moment I'm just dealing with my diabetes. I'm also on meds, but my meds are for my diabetes.
Yeah. That's like a lot going on.
Yeah, sadly, yes. Somebody cursed me with those interesting times that the Chinese people warn you about. So, for people who are not aware of how we do our podcast, we usually do the thing that we just did, which is like talk about general stuff in our lives. And then we go on to like small bits about TV things. And then we go on to a big bit about TV things. And then we talk to our viewers / listeners. That's basically broadly it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I don't know if you can see that I'm trying to rearrange the lighting here, but that's happening.
I can see that,
and I don't know if I'm doing a very good job of it.
I mean, you're changing color a lot.
Right, but like, is it better? Or is it not that different?
Are you giving us an eye exam in the middle of the podcast? No, it's better like that. No, it's worse like that. No, it's better the other way. There we go.
Way?
That's good. No,
okay.
that's good.
think we should dive right in then. Would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
Let's see here. You can start.
Okay. I wanted to talk first about Elementary.
Hooray!
And I feel like this is a show that we've talked about on the podcast before. It's absolutely my favorite Sherlock Holmes adaptation. I named my cat, who is around here somewhere, Moriarty, because of this show. And yeah, so they've announced that this season is going to be the last season of Elementary, and as sad as I am to see the show go away, I am very glad that they're getting a chance to end on their own terms. Their season arc is leaning really heavily into classic Sherlock Holmes stories, which I think is wonderful. Elementary has always been the adaptation of Sherlock Holmes that used the least of the original source material. They always kind of created their own stories, but they are pretty heavily referencing the story where, spoiler alert, Sherlock dies at the hands of Moriarty.
Yes.
That story is called The Final Problem, and they fall over a waterfall called the Reichenbach Falls. So in Elementary, there's a computer system and kind of a development thing that they're calling the Final Problem, and the kind of evil Steve Jobs is named Reichenbach. I don't think that they're going to bring back Moriarty, the character,
which is so
in the show.
Such a shame.
He's not looking like that. What?
Such a shame. I love that Moriarty character.
I know.
It was played by Natalie Dormer, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
I don't think they're going to bring her back. They did bring back John Noble for an episode as Sherlock's dad, and I loved that. That was literally last week.
It was really good.
So good. I love him. And then a few weeks ago, they had a character who was making a podcast about a true crime case that was pretty much the Hounds of Baskerville. So they're doing a lot of really classic Sherlock Holmes things. It's been a really fun ride, and I'm really intrigued to see how they tie it all up in the end. Me
too. Have you watched the most recent, the penultimate episode yet?
The one that was on yesterday?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's there. You can tell it is almost to the end at the very end of the last season. It's great.
That is exciting and scary.
That's what we're looking
exciting.
for. One of the small things I wanted to talk about was that after Avengers Endgame, here's a minor spoiler for you, everybody dies. That's not true. But there's a lot of heartbreak.
No, that's Infinity War.
Yeah. There's a lot of heartbreak at the end of Avengers Endgame. We wonder, are we ever going to see these heroes again in the way that we recognize? Well, they're coming back, and they're coming back on Disney's new streaming service, Disney Plus, as a part of the MCU Phase 4. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but there's 5. There are 5 MCU shows that are going to be only available on the Disney Plus streaming service. Brand new.
I have so many objections to as a entity. I hate that streaming services are now you have to buy them all. It's worse than cable. I hate everything. But also continue. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I agree with you. For a hot second, YouTube TV as a streaming service was the thing to get because they had everybody for a little while,
right.
And now that's not the case anymore.
They don't anymore. Yeah.
Well, I mean, officially with Disney Plus, it's really not gonna. Anyway, so the 5 shows. By the way, Disney Plus is gonna cost $7 a month, but they also just announced recently that they're gonna do a bundle with Hulu and for some reason ESPN, sports, whatever.
Oh, Disney owns ESPN, that's why.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so Disney's going to do a bundle for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN for $12.99 a month. So I guess if you really love your Hulu and sports, that's a great thing for you. I'm only tempted by the $7 a month Disney Plus service itself.
Right.
All right, so the five shows are going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which are Sam Wilson and Bucky, and allegedly it's going to be about how the government doesn't want to give a black man the title of Captain America. That's the rumor that I've heard. I don't know how legit that is.
I'm excited to watch that. I don't know that I will be able to, but I'm excited.
WandaVision, which is the worst name for a TV show, but it's called WandaVision, and it's supposed to be about how the two of them, Scarlet Witch and the Vision, exist in some way after Endgame, which I'm not even sure how that's possible. I guess we'll find out. But the most important part about that show, in my opinion, is that Monica Rambeau's daughter from the Captain Marvel movie is going to be a grown-up in the WandaVision show. That's very exciting. Let's see here. Show number 3.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Hot news coming in on this podcast. Third show is going to be Loki, and it's going to be a series diving into what happened to Loki after he used the Tesseract to escape in Endgame. Oh, man. There's going to be a TV show called What If? It's going to be an animated one. It's going to be, theoretically, the first, potentially, part of the MCU animated show? I mean, there have been kind of things that were made, whatever. Anyway, the whole point of it is that it's a bunch of one-off stories, and each story is literally asking the question, what if something that we know about the Marvel Universe was different in this way? Like, what if Peter Parker never became Spider-Man, and in fact, Gwen Stacy became Spider-Man instead? That's a pretty obvious one. What if Captain America never became Captain America, and Peggy Carter became Captain America instead? That is an example of a classic what-if storyline that I would love to see.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I also, side note, feel like fan fiction probably does it better.
I mean, it's basically it's like canonical fan fiction, if that's even a thing. Yeah. If that's even a thing.
Yeah. It's definitely a thing. I mean, the cursed child is a thing, so
there you go.
There's a lot of options here.
Yeah. The wildest thing about the What If series is that they showed the voice actor cast list for this animated show, and it's basically every person from any Marvel Universe TV show or film ever. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last show on the Disney Plus streaming service is going to be called Hawkeye. So we're familiar with Hawkeye from the Marvel movies, but in the comics, that character of Hawkeye goes on to teach a woman to take on that same mantle, also being called Hawkeye. Her name is Kate Bishop, and apparently the TV show is going to be about that. Kate Bishop.
Yeah. See, that I'm excited for because I've actually read those comics.
They're good, right?
They're really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope Pizza Dog shows up.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Do you have another small thing you want to talk about?
I do. And it is Star Trek Picard.
Yes. Yes, Picard.
So, yeah. I know that you also have thoughts on this. It's like there's a bunch of people in my life that are very excited about Star Trek Picard. One of them is my uncle, who is the same person who got me into JAG. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And I'm going to get very worked up about it, I know. But for now, we're going to talk about Star Trek Picard. And I got a phone call from this uncle, and in what can only be described as a nerd panic, yelling, "Why didn't you tell me Star Trek Picard was a thing? Like, have you seen the new trailer?" And I'm just like, first of all, I didn't even know you were a Trekkie. know that you are the one to tell if we've never talked about Star Trek, any Star Trek ever at all. And secondly, why is it my job to make sure that you are informed about TV shows that exist or don't exist that you might like? It is not my job.
Well, you are the family member who's kind of in the television industry.
Yes, but we've never had a conversation of him being like, I need you to tell me when these types of shows are. It's like, and also, even if he did, if we had that conversation, I would say, nah, dude. Like, you gotta find your own news.
The internet is a thing.
Right? All that said, I am quite excited about Star Trek Picard. Because of this, my uncle gave me his CBS All Access password. It's only going to be available on CBS All Access.
Nice.
The new trailer for the show looks absolutely gorgeous. It just came out after Comic-Con. It's going to be so cool to see familiar characters again, and I'm also really excited to kind of get this first look at new characters, because there are a couple of new characters being introduced as well.
Yes, it's like the next generation's next generation.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Yeah. I was so excited for Picard that I went... when it was announced with the tiny little teaser trailer of like him in a vineyard or some garbage, I immediately started rewatching Star Trek: The Next Generation from the beginning. And then by the time the Comic-Con trailer came out, the full-length trailer, I had already moved on to watching Star Trek Voyager, and it's a good thing that I had, because apparently 7 of 9 is going to be in Picard. What?
Yes. Yeah. Lots of characters that we know.
I'm so excited about it. It's just, it's so great. It's so great.
Yeah. So they also haven't, also noteworthy, they have not given us a date for this show being put out. I think that the newest trailer maybe said early 2020. Mm-hmm. Potentially it said very early 2020, which to me says that they're just going to drop the whole thing on January 1st and run away and not tell anyone that they're doing it. So, like, that's my prediction. But also, who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, I know some people who might know, but, like, they won't tell me. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the Wikipedia page to see if anything new has been edited in. Not that Wikipedia is 100% reliable, but just to check.
Yeah.
Oh, something that I was excited about, I didn't realize until I looked at this on IMDb. One of my favorite actors from The Newsroom is going to be on Picard.
Yeah, Alison Pill is going to be on it. I'm also very excited to see her.
Yeah, I was completely surprised by that.
Yeah, me too, honestly. I was not expecting to see her, but it was really cool.
So just to confirm, Wikipedia confirms Rachel's statement that Picard is expected to premiere in early 2020, and its first season will consist of 10 episodes. I believe... I bet they're probably going to try to do it actually the same way they did with Discovery, which is like try to make it a viewership thing where they release one episode a week, even though it's a streaming service.
Right, that has been CBS All Access's like game plan for a lot of their shows. I know the Twilight Zone did that as well, and I think The Good Fight is the other CBS All Access exclusive that I know of, and I'm pretty sure that they also had that rollout system. So that's probably.
We'll see. I'm sure that we will podcast about it once it happens.
Yes.
Okay.
What else do you have for us, Paul?
Well, a long time ago, we used to be friends, but I haven't thought of Veronica Mars lately at all. That's a lie! It's a lie, because I watched the entire season 4 almost immediately when it came out. It's on Hulu, and probably most of our listeners / viewers are familiar with the show. It was on... There's this great little teaser that Kristen Bell did with Rob Thomas, where she talks to him over a speakerphone and says, Rob, we shared one of the most intimate things two people can share. A UPN TV show. Yeah, they were on UPN. Rock that shit.
Yeah.
The premise is, it's basically like, what if Nancy Drew were a lot edgier and based in a Southern California fictional town called Neptune? That's basically it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down.
And instead of being a lawyer, her father is the sheriff. But there's like a whole bunch of stuff going on there. The great thing about it is that the father-daughter relationship is always very consistent. I love it.
That's nice.
And then the other thing that people might not know about Veronica Mars is that, so the first 2 seasons were on UPN, but then the 3rd season, the last one before all this reboot stuff happened, was on the very baby infant CW channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 3 of Veronica Mars was one of the first shows on there. And people did not like it. It was not well received, that Season 3. They were kind of like desperate to stay on the air, so they kept on trying lots of different things with the characters that did not match anything about the characters. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. But then they like crowdfunded a movie like a few years ago, and the movie was really well liked. I enjoyed it a lot.
I heard very good things about the movie. I did not see it. I've seen a few episodes of Veronica Mars, but I haven't seen the movie, and I haven't seen any of the new show.
Well, the original couple seasons were a little bit traumatic for me, and I would even give like a content warning because there is like sexual assault and violence and some heavy stuff in the first couple seasons. And I was nervous that this season 4, now that everybody's an adult, would be just as bad. But it was not. It actually, even though it's on a streaming Hulu, it wasn't as hardcore as I remember it being on UPN. Like, they barely even curse on the Hulu series. It's weird. Anyway. Yeah. Just like the original series, though, they do have a dog, which is great. A pit bull dog is, once again, a cast member. But it's obviously not the same dog. It's a new dog, but it's still a backup dog. So that's nice.
That's nice.
I watched the whole season, and I liked it a lot. And like my friend Taylor Brogan, who actually writes TV shows and works on a couple different productions, the way she talked about the season finale for season 4 of Veronica Mars was that she really liked what they did for writing purposes, but I believe it hurt her as a fan. and that's kind of how I felt about it as well. My heart broke a little bit as a fan by the end of season 4.
Yeah.
But I loved how they wrote it. It was really great.
Oh, I am familiar with the feeling. In fact, I will talk about a similar feeling, sort of, in our the focus segment after our break.
Cool. So now we are going to go to our ad break.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do your ad first,
or would you like me to start?
I just talked a lot about my stuff, so let's see. I'm going to say I'd like you to do your choice number 2 for the ad break, please.
Okay, cool. Speaking of shows that are choosing to end this season, let's take a moment to discuss The Good Place. The Good Place is a show that takes no prisoners and is constantly changing their own rules. The main characters have died and found themselves in the good place, or it may be the bad place, or maybe they're not dead, or they're in a void. There's really a lot going on, and they can't keep it up forever, which is why I'm very excited that they will be finishing their story properly before saying goodbye this season. Seasons 1 through 3 are available on Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube, as well as for free on NBC.com. Season 4 will be coming out this fall.
Ooh. Which one of my ad breaks should I do?
Let's do number 1.
You are being watched. The government has a secret system. A machine that spies on you every hour of every day. I know because I built it. I designed the machine to detect acts of terror, but it sees everything. Violent crimes involving ordinary people like you, crimes the government considered irrelevant. They wouldn't act, so I decided I would. But I needed a partner. someone with the skills to intervene. Hunted by the authorities, we work in secret. You'll never find us. But, victim or perpetrator, if your number's up, we'll find you. Person of Interest. All 5 seasons on Netflix.
Did you just, pull that directly from the, opening of the show?
Yes, I did. I tried to come up with my own script for it, but as I was describing the show, I was like, this sounds familiar what I'm talking about. Oh, wait a minute. Let me rewatch the show. Right.
Yep. I like it. Alright, we seem to be taking turns back and forth, which would lead me to say that I might go next.
Do it.
I'm fine either way.
Do it. This is the most Rachel segment.
Okay. This is a whole thing, honestly. Are we ready to talk about this?
Sit back, people. Get a drink.
I have mentioned the series Jag multiple times on this podcast before, including earlier in this very episode. If you haven't caught it, it was a show about military lawyers. It was on NBC and also CBS from 1995 to 2005. It was almost purely procedural. The characters were generally really, really great. A lot of the series hinged on this, will they, won't they kind of dynamic between the 2 lead characters. Lieutenant Commander Harmon Rabb and Major Sarah McKenzie.
They're like the Sam and Diane of the Judge Advocate General.
Yes. So the series finale, spoiler alert.
It's been years. It's been so many years.
The 2 of them being given different assignments in faraway locales. The entire episode is pretty much just the 2 of them circling around each other, going, oh my god, we can't leave, we have to be together. So then they kiss, and they go from 0 to 100 in no seconds flat. Not involved, not in any way romantically entangled, other than this will they, won't they dynamic. And all of a sudden they are now engaged. The final scene of the series is them flipping a coin to see which one of them will resign their commission so that they can be with each other.
Wow, this sounds like a fanfic of the actual show.
Yeah, so the last episode kind of went off the rails. Yeah, so is a little more, this is really just backstory to an actual recent thing that was on TV this past spring. Along the way, Jag had a backdoor pilot for the show NCIS, which is still a very, very popular show. It's going on season 22 or something like that.
Damn!
Yeah, it's been around a long-ass time. It has also spun off its own series. There is now NCIS LA, NCIS New Orleans. There has been some amount of crossover between all 3 of these shows and the Jag characters. So there's a comic relief kind of character in Jag, Bud Roberts, who has been in multiple episodes of NCIS. So it's always really cool to see him. The boss, the JAG, the Judge Advocate General of the show, appeared in an episode of NCIS as a civilian lawyer, which was really cool. And also NCIS characters have showed up in NCIS New Orleans and LA. So this season, by which I mean I guess last season, because it's now August and this was in May. Harm and Mac, the leads of JAG, made their first appearance in the franchise since 2005.
Wow.
It has been almost 15 years since we've seen either of these characters on television. So, That was all lead up.
Is that longer than it was for Mulder and Scully to come back?
The X-Files was... No. But very close.
All right.
So X-Files started in 1990. Actually, maybe, but by just like a year or two.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been a long time coming, and they have hinted at these two characters still like existing. There's one scene in NCIS where there's like one of the NCIS characters, McGee, is talking with Bud, and they're just like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long, like we should catch up, and like, how are the kids? How's your wife? It's like, how is everybody on the team? And Bud is just like, you know what? It's funny, Harmon Mac, and then he's cut off by like another character coming into the room, and then both of them are kind of like, I guess we should get back to work.
Wow.
It's like, no, you shouldn't. You should tell me.
Tease.
So, yeah. And I feel like my audio is probably going to peak a few times in this next segment of this part. A few questions that we have going into these two characters appearing on NCIS LA. Mainly, who won the coin toss?
Yeah.
After 10 years of teasing us, they haven't told us. We finally get to see them in their happily ever after, right?
Right.
So exciting. No! Actually, we can't have nice things. It didn't work out.
Aww.
So, as far as I can tell, they were together for a little while, but in the end, neither of them was actually willing to give up their military career to make this relationship work. And are you fucking kidding me?
But doesn't that line up with their characters?
It does, but like, this is also an unfinished story at the moment. I'm sure we will revisit it again because the episode ended in a cliffhanger.
What? The season finale of the show?
The season finale of NCIS LA ended in a cliffhanger. It's the story to be continued in the fall.
Was the cliffhanger like putting one of the JAG characters in danger?
Not directly.
Well, yeah. At least it wasn't that cruel.
I will say it's like the most JAG-like episode of NCIS that I've ever seen, and I did watch the original NCIS series for a very long time. They had to make it plausible that the team would need to bring in both Harm and Mac. Harm is the captain of an aircraft carrier, which doesn't even make any sense with his career trajectory. But whatever. Mac is working as the military attaché to a foreign embassy. Of course she is. That makes perfect sense.
That one makes sense, yeah.
They're clearly working towards the two of them getting back together in the premiere in the fall because they had this really, really awkward, like, video chat conversation. There was a lot of tension, and, like, I'm so angry.
I can't tell at all.
Like, why did they put us in this, like, dear TV writers, why can't you let your characters be happy for once in their miserable lives?
I mean, it's a good question. At least we have The Good Place.
Yep.
Although, in the last episode of the last season of The Good Place, the main character was put in a torturous situation, so maybe that's a bad example.
Yeah. And I kind of understand that they wanted to increase the tension, and like this is the only way that a lot of writers can seem to imagine having tension and conflict in a relationship is for them not to be together and then together again and like cheating on each other and like that is kind of the default dramatic conflict for relationships on television. You don't need to have that to have a good, solid relationship on television. I'll mention Madam Secretary here, which has a married couple, and their relationship is totally solid. They are never cheating on each other, unless something happened in a season that I haven't seen recently. So yeah.
Yeah, there's Parks. My go-to example is Parks and Recreation's Ben and Leslie. Their conflict.
There's another good example.
Their conflict usually consists of which one of them is going to support the other the most. Like, that's when they fight. No, your career is more important. No, your career is more important. It's great.
Yeah. So to sum it up, this is trash, and I hate you all.
I'm going to segue from your trash to my treasure, which is Steven Universe.
Yeah, this is probably the better way to do it, because now we end on a good note.
I looked through our list of TV shows that we talked about, and I was astonished to find that I have not really talked about Steven Universe very much. It is my favorite.
Honestly, I would be too, because I know you love that show a lot.
Yeah. I do. It might be my favorite TV show of all time, but it's definitely my favorite cartoon of all time. It has had like 5 seasons, and it has gone from starting off where this kid that you don't know anything about is living with 3 superhero alien ladies, and no explanation is given. He's just there, and his father lives like a mile away in town in a van. It's just weird. It's like a fictional version of Delaware that they're living in on the beach.
Weird?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as the first season goes on, you discover like why these superhero ladies have powers. It's because they are aliens from a species called gems, and the gems are all non-binary female, which is great. It's a great concept to have consistently put out there in a children's show.
Yeah, I love it.
And then like about, I want to say like 10 or 12 episodes into the first season, they start bringing out their songs and having songs being a significant part of their show. And the music in this show is so good. It's so good. They released an album of these songs, and the songs are like 1 minute long at tops. They're short songs, but they're just so great. There are whole fanships just about the songs themselves. It eventually unfolds. It starts off in this little Delaware town, and it unfolds to becoming like hugely world impacting, and then universe spanning, and it becomes like a space show, and it's just
wow.
It's really good. It's a really good show.
I don't know much about this show other than the fact that you like it a lot. So it sounds cool.
I wrote down a list of like a bullet point of things I like. It's full of feelings, non-binary characters, transgender ideas, magic, character arcs, music, space, fighting, hugging, food, redeemable bad guys, and platonic friendship.
Aww.
Yeah. The creator...
I mean, that sounds like a really good summary of everything that you stand for.
Yes. There's a reason why I have a Steven Universe t-shirt in his old style, and apparently there's going to be a new style of Steven Universe t-shirt, and I am 100% going to be buying that shirt. The creator of the show, Rebecca Sugar, was a writer and artist on the cartoon Adventure Time, and while she was working on Adventure Time, which has its own high-quality show, she created this idea and she sold it to Cartoon Network, and so she was the first non-binary woman who does use she/her pronouns. I double-checked on that. First non-binary woman to show-run a cartoon on a mainstream channel. Record-breaking stuff here. Oh, and the main character, Steven Universe, is based on her real-life brother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't want to spend a lot of time going into, like... I mean, I could. Like, I could literally spend an entire podcast talking about, if not literally every episode, then certainly every season. But just in general, I'm going to say that the arc ends up with Steven solving some mysteries, finding out stuff about his identity, and at the end of the 5th season, that could have been the end of the story, because the arc with the major big bads that we've kind of known about since season 1 is resolved at the end of season 5. So that could be the end of the whole show, but we get more because there's going to be a movie. They're making a movie to continue in the canon of the universe. The movie's coming out. Did I write down when it's coming out? I think it's coming out in like September or something like that. But the end of this year, 2019, and it's going to be 3 years after the end of the season 5 season finale. I'm so excited.
I'm glad. That's wonderful.
I'm so excited. Let's see here. We talked about that. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It is September. It's hard for me to really I can give you the bullet points of why I like the show, but it's hard for me to really sum up like what makes the show so worth watching and why I love it so much. Like there are hard things to watch in the show. There are like internal struggles. There's mental health stuff that happens. There's like gender identity stuff that happens. And yet it's all kind of still mostly light. There's some dark episodes, but mostly light. Kids can definitely watch this show and learn a lot from it.
Right.
I want everybody to watch this show and love it as much as I do. It's so great. Let's see here. I think probably one of the most endearing aspects of the show that like makes people who are kind of on the fence about whether they're fans or not really fall in love with the show is that several times, at least 3 times, bad guy characters who are like significantly bad guy characters go through redemption arcs. And not like easy, we're just going to call them good now. No, like serious, struggling with it, learning from it, fighting with it, redemption arcs to join the good guy team. And that is amazing. I love it so much. If all of that doesn't convince our viewers / listeners to check out Steven Universe, I'm going to quote the very last song of the very last episode of the 5th season. It's not a plot spoiler, and it's very simple. Steven Universe sits on a beach with his friend and he sings, "I don't need you to respect me. I respect me. I don't need you to love me. I love me. But I want you to know you could know me if you change your mind." That's the song.
That's really sweet.
It's so good, and it's so small, and it's so good. All right, I'm done.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you?
I can keep going forever, but I'm done for the moment.
I know you can. But do you feel like you adequately covered the topic?
I think that I did for our podcast purposes. Although, if any of our listeners / viewers want to ask me a question about Steven Universe, I will be happy to answer it in a future episode. Mm-hmm. Much like they could ask you a question about Jag.
Yeah. Come at me, bro. You are the one hosting the live stream, so by chance, have we had any viewers? Are there any questions from listeners?
Let me check. No. Considering that we did not advertise this at all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, that is the answer I was expecting.
Yes.
That being said, I don't think we really have any listener answers or questions for a Q&A portion.
I mean, we could answer Nirali's question again. I'm fine with that. Honestly,
I don't have an answer to that question.
You don't have an answer?
I didn't think of one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so in the future, this part of the podcast is where we would answer questions that we were given by our listener viewers. And those questions can be about anything TV related or us related or life related. What the hell? What the hell? We're a baby podcast. Ask us whatever you want.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that's almost the end of the podcast, honestly. I think the only thing that we usually say at the end is, what are we going to do now?
Well, I'm not sure if I have the energy for it, but I was considering going out to a swing dance at a place in downtown Los Angeles. Yes.
You should do it!
I mean, it's 8 o'clock. I'm a little tired. I still need to, like, shower and stuff. But it's at a place in downtown Los Angeles called Clifton's. And it's this beautiful old, like, 1920s, 30s style establishment that's been kept in good condition.
Cool.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat. It's a possibility. If I don't do that, then I might go to see one of several movies that are out right now and take advantage of my A-list movie pass.
No, that's a good idea, too.
Yeah. What are you going to do next, Rachel?
I need to pack my bag to go to Vegas tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, kind of burying the lead here, but my choir is going to sing in Vegas on Sunday. We are singing, it's for like a conference for like travel agents or something like that. It's a private event. You can't buy tickets to it, which is why I didn't like say it right at the top. But it's really cool. We're going to go to Vegas. We're going to sing at the Bellagio. Then I'm going to stay a night at the Bellagio. And then I'm going to maybe gamble a little. I haven't been to Vegas as a grown-up yet. Probably sit by the pool. And then come home. And at the end of it, they're going to pay me for it.
That sounds amazing.
So,
if you,
I'm very excited.
If while you're at the Bellagio, you pull off a heist with Sandra Bullock and like 7 other ladies, please let me know. That would make a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be live tweeting it at that point.
Ocean's 9 should be all live tweeted. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the outro credits or should I?
I can do them.
Go for it.
That's the Show is hosted by Paul Roth and Rachel Pierce. Our theme song is by Mary-Kate Menace-Wall. And you can follow us on Patreon. The link will be in the description or the show notes below.
Yep. So, is that it?
I think
that's the show. Amazing.
We didn't do that very well. But
no, but we're out of practice.
The end of the show. Yeah, we're out of practice. And also, I still can't see you, by the way.
Oh. I forgot that you can't see me, so you can't get any visual cues.
Yeah.
Yep. That's on brand.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this is the end, so it's time to not be live anymore. Are we still live?
Yeah, I've been trying to end the stream, and it's like taking me through